Borrow $100, pay back $150. That sounds like a terrible deal, right? Nobody would agree to that. Except millions of people do, every single day. It's called debt, and it's one of the biggest traps in personal finance. Today I'm going to show you exactly why debt is so dangerous and how it works. And in part 2, I'll give you the 4 rules to make sure you never get stuck in it. Let's talk about the trap. Debt is when you borrow money and promise to pay it back later, usually with extra money added on top. That extra money is called interest. Here's a simple example. You want to buy a game that costs $100, but you only have $50? Your friend says, I'll lend you $50, but you have to pay me back $55 next month. That extra $5 is interest. It's the cost of borrowing. Sounds reasonable, right? Just $5. But here's where it gets dangerous. What if next month you still don't have the money? And your friend says, okay, you owe me $55. But since you're paying late, now you owe me $60. And then the next month, if you still can't pay, it's $65, then $70. That $50 loan keeps growing and growing and growing. That's how debt works. And that's why it's a trap. The biggest debt trap for adults is credit cards. And you need to understand how they work now before you ever get one. Here's how a credit card works. You buy something for $100, but you don't pay $100 right now. The credit card company pays it for you. At the end of the month, they send you a bill. You owe $100. If you pay the full $100, you're done. No problem. But here's the trap. They let you pay less. They say just pay $25 this month. You can pay the rest later. Sounds nice, right? They're being flexible.
Except
They charge you interest on the money you didn't pay. A lot of interest. Credit cards typically charge 20 to 25% interest per year. Let's use 20% to make the math easy. Let's break this down. You put $100 on a credit card, the interest rate is 20% per year. That works out to about 1.7% per month. Your bill comes, you only paid $25, now you owe $75, but the credit card charges 1.7% interest on that $75. That's $1.27 now. You owe $76.27. Doesn't sound like much, right? Just $1 to 7. But you do this month after month. You keep paying just the minimum, and the interest keeps stacking up. If you only pay the minimum on that $100 purchase, it takes you about 5.5 years to pay it off. And you end up paying around $150 total. You paid 50% extra, $50, just because you didn't even pay it off right away. That $50 didn't get you anything. No game, no toy, nothing. It just disappeared into interest. Here's something wild. The credit card company doesn't want you to pay it all off. They want you to pay the minimum. Why? Because the longer you take to pay, the more interest they make. That's how they earn money. When they say just pay $25, they're not being nice. They're re-hoping you'll take years to pay it off so they can collect way more than you borrowed. That's compound interest working against you instead of for you. So if debt is such a bad deal, why do people do it? Because it doesn't feel bad at first. It feels like a solution. You want something now? You don't have the money now. Debt lets you have it anyway. The problem comes later, when you have to pay it back with interest. And here's the really dangerous part. Debt makes it harder to save. Remember the save jar from video 1? 40% of your money should go there. But if you're in debt, your money has to go to paying back what you owe first. You can't save, you can't invest. You're stuck just trying to catch up. And while you're catching up, everyone else is getting ahead. Remember how compound interest makes your save jar grow in video 2? Debt is compound interest in reverse. Instead of your money growing, what you owe grows. The same force that can make you wealthy can also keep you stuck. It all depends on which side of it you're on. That's why debt is a trap. It doesn't just cost you money, it costs you time, it costs you opportunities. It keeps you from building wealth. Now you understand what debt is and why it's so dangerous. In part 2, I'm going to give you the 4 rules to make sure you never fall into this trap. Plus, I'll show you the buy now pay later schemes that are designed to catch kids and teens. Watch part 2 right now to learn how to stay debt free forever. See you there.